So this show is created for you by the media team of the Accounting Association at Cal State Northridge. Welcome to AA Podcast number 6, the show where we explore the accounting world one asset and liability at a time. My name is Mariana, and today we wanted to talk to you about what to focus on after Meet the Firms. Michael and Anika are here with me, and then Ale and Nestor are going to join us today as well. Now that Meet the Firms is over, you might find yourself asking, what do I do with all the free time now? And am I missing something? Point is, you most likely will find yourself with having a little bit more free time and might wonder what the next step is. This is definitely your time to shine academically. Utilize the free time by attending extra tutoring sessions and make sure to study a little harder because we are in midterm season. For all those that are hoping to get a little extra help, Nestor, what are some helpful academic resources this semester?
Thank you, Mariana. So some of the helpful things that I found very useful that's helped me throughout every semester studying for midterm season is always making study groups through Zoom, which has been something that I've been starting to do since the quarantine happened in March. So I also go to club group me groups, like, for example, I'm in the Beta Alpha Psi group me, and I would just say, is anyone taking the class with Professor Gianni for Accounting 440? And then some students will pop up and say, I am. So then I will directly message them and tell them if they want to meet up sometime over the weekend, set up a Zoom session to study together, or go over some homework, or go over things that we just don't understand in the classroom. Another thing I also recommend are going to professor office hours because they're really, really important. I will highlight that because the professor will sometimes say something extra or something that will be really, really useful when taking the midterms. So those are some of my tips and tricks when studying or trying to go about midterm season. Is trying to set up study group sessions through Zoom is a must, and if you are alone in a class and need someone to study with, there is always someone in a group me, whether it be AA, Alpha, or even BAP, that are taking the same class as you.
Yeah, Nestor, I totally agree with all those methods. I know you're an executive in BAP, and when I was in 350, I actually attended the 350 tutoring sessions for all the midterms, and they were really beneficial to me. I know you are all going to be doing those throughout the next tests. So I really recommend any students that want to partake in that it's a great opportunity.
I will add, they are beneficial, and also for those 350 students that are not aware, we also have one-on-one sessions that they can sign up for as well. So if they don't have time to maybe go to those midterm sessions that they have on the weekends right before their midterms or finals, they could also set up those one-on-one sessions. They're all through Zoom. So I highly recommend, if you need some help with overs and unders or any of the handouts, we help with that at any time.
Right, so those are really good tips. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then in case this is your first semester at CSUN, there's also the LRC Center, if you need help editing a paper or anything like that. Anika, I know that you have done some research on the LRC Center. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the LRC Center is the Learning Resource Center, and I know that they provide online tutoring this semester. So they also provide writing workshops. They have the Smart Lab tutors, and the Smart Lab is specifically for science, math, and related topics to that. Those tutors provide tutoring services through Zoom, and they also have Grammar Lab tutors that can tutor students for 50 minutes per session. If you just search up LRC CSUN on Google, it should come up, and you could schedule appointments through it.
Right, thank you so much. And also, for all of those that are AA members, as a mentor, I absolutely do not mind scheduling a Zoom session if my mentee would ever need help studying for their classes. So feel free to reach out to your mentor if you signed up for one. And now, apart from keeping your GPA nice and high, you might also consider improving your resume. By that, I mean getting involved. There are definitely some ways that you can stay busy and also have fun at the same time. The best part of that, it will look really good on your resume too. For example, you could get involved with some clubs. Ale, can you elaborate on becoming a director in AA, please?
Yeah, of course. Being a director for a club is a great resume booster. It shows leadership traits, the ability to work in a team, and initiative. I personally became a director because I was recruiting at the time. From my experience, many alumni were a part of these organizations as well. It's something you can bond about with a professional while networking.
And how do you apply and when?
So usually at the end of the semester, you will get an email if you are a member of the organization with a directorship application. There are a bunch of directorships, so I do recommend speaking with either a previous director, maybe an exec, and really figuring out which directorship you'd be interested in, as well as at the end of the semester, we have a meeting where you can actually meet the current directors and ask them questions and see what directorship really fits you. So that usually is probably the last week of the semester. And then shortly after, there will be interviews for that. And you should know if you got the position within a week from interviews.
Right, so that's for AA, but there are also other clubs in CSUN. Nestor, can you tell us more about the club you're in?
Of course, I can talk about my club for BAP. I am currently the vice president of operations, and I do encourage many students to join a directorship or an executive position. It does show a lot of leadership, and you do gain a lot of skills working in a team on your resume, but also it shows you what it takes or what goes behind the scenes in making all these fun events, whether they're professional events, their workshops, their panels, or social events. Just for example, with my executive position at this moment, I am working alongside a team of 4 other directors, and we are creating more social events than we have ever before in the past 2 semesters, just because we want to encourage all of our members to be able to communicate and bond and network as well through these many social events. We're trying to make them very interactive and give out the best out of every single professional event we have, just so we can show them that there is many possibilities opening up, and also how to deal with this new era of virtual life we're going through.
Right, so thank you so much for sharing that. There are definitely ways to stay social and keep networking in the virtual environment as well. Could you also tell us about other ways of staying involved, please?
Of course, so many other ways you can also stay up to date with what's going on is by always being going to these events that Stuart is always advertising through emails. AA, Alpha, BAP, they always offer many workshops and panels on how to navigate LinkedIn. There's networking workshops, resume and mock interviews, and especially firm office hours where the professionals will critique your resume and give you the most honest and helpful advice to help you in your recruiting process. So it's best to always follow with them on social media, even check your emails. There's always something going on every week, and I feel like there's always something available for every student to learn something and to stay on top of their game if they're recruiting or if they're trying to study or anything, to just keep them very motivated and persistent throughout their semester.
Right, so there are definitely ways to still get involved. And Ale, how was your experience after Meet the Firms? What did you do and what did you focus on?
So determining what to do post Meet the Firms depends on whether you landed an offer or not. For those who did not land an offer the first time around, don't be discouraged. A lot of students don't, including myself. I personally didn't land an offer the first time I recruited while in 350. I wasn't involved in AA during those times, and I only applied to positions because everyone was talking about it in my class. What's important is that you make a new game plan for the following semester and figure out what it is that you did wrong and improving on that. Utilize the clubs on campus, make friends, get a mentor. There are so many ways our school helps our students during their recruiting season. You will land as long as you're putting yourself out there and trying. In regards to post Meet the Firms, if you have landed, just relax. After all your hard work, it's time to chill and enjoy the fruit of your labor. With that being said, just because you have landed doesn't mean that networking within the firm is over. Maybe reach out before your start date to professionals you had previously connected with and ask if they can connect you with other professionals. I personally went through both of these scenarios, and that is what I did, and I hope it helps.
And I know it's different because Ale did it in the past semesters when everything was in real life. Now things are a little different with being
virtual?
I had a great experience with this semester's online Meet the Firms, and I was lucky enough to land some interviews. I've already done a few first round interviews, and I'm preparing for the next steps. Now that recruiting season is over, I'm going to be focusing on my academics. Since this is my last semester, I will soon be taking the CPA exam. Doing well in classes is important if you want to be reviewing for the CPA exam after you graduate rather than learning the content of the CPA exam for the first time. I would like to give one piece of insight that I think is very important that I got from all my experience networking at CSUN. One of the most sought after qualities that firms look for is the capacity for growth. And it's very hard to show firms how much you've grown when you've only known them for one semester. Just because you failed to get an offer from a firm one semester, that doesn't mean that you didn't make any progress or that all your progress was wasted. Taking leadership positions is a great way to demonstrate growth, but picking up your grades is also important. Try to stay connected with professionals if you can, but remember to step out of your own perspective every so often to reflect on what progress you've made since you've started.
All right, so thank you so much, Ale and Michael, for sharing that. I totally agree that while you're focusing on school when you're done with the recruiting, you still don't want to go MIA on the professionals. It is important to continue to grow and build the networks and also to maintain the connections with the professionals. So as we come to a close with today's podcast, let me just add that the media team would also like to create some tutoring videos. So please comment under this video if there are any topics in your accounting classes that you and your peers might need help with. And we got you. So now let me thank Ale and Nestor for joining us today and sharing their amazing advice. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for the invite to the podcast. I love putting my input about recruiting, studying, or anything in general to help out the students.
Yeah, I also wanted to add that I actually just recently got 500 plus connections on LinkedIn. I know I had mentioned that on my last podcast, so thank you to everyone that connected with me.
All right, well, thank you so much, Ali, for sharing that, and congrats. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the like button. Next week, we'll be talking about maintaining professional skepticism, so you definitely want to tune in for that. So subscribe to our channel if you want to see more podcasts like this, and don't forget to hit the bell notifications so you get notified every time we upload. Also, don't forget to add us on LinkedIn so you can be as cool as Ali. See you next week.